I'd say something, but the nominations chairman would have my throat. Welcome again. Welcome to the quarterly report, and I hope everybody stays afterwards for the board of directors. Everybody stand, please, and salute or in any manner that you're accustomed to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First off, I want to acknowledge all the hard work that Patty put in and Pat put in to try to make me look good, and as you know, it was an utter failure. But here's Pat to introduce the new residents.
Thank you very much. Can everybody hear me? Yep. Default answer is yes. Good. Okay. I don't know how many of the new residents are here, but let's assume if they're not here, then they're watching. So everybody please applaud when I state someone's name. Barry and Linda Santo. Barbara Knapp. Greg and Donna McFarland. Elsky Paisley. Janet Kipp. Richard Lemieux. Martin and Patricia Nicewander. Joan Fisher. And Patricia Rule. Welcome to the community, and please wear your new resident badge so we can all come by and say hello. And now I'll turn it back over to our president.
Thank you, Pat. I won't try to put that back again, so this time I'll have to stay behind here. Once again, I want to welcome you. It's a pleasure being your president. I'm honored to be of service. Sitting behind me are the chairmen of the different committees that put in all the hard work that make this place the place that it is. I love it. I hope you love it as much as I do. And I want you to listen carefully to all the committees and all the work that they do, because they do a tremendous amount of work. From the library subcommittee, putting in literally thousands of hours to keep that library up to date and open for the residents. It's an incredible job that they do. Mary Ellen Humphreys, with her Lily program, is putting in hundreds of hours on her own to make that program work. So I encourage you all to listen to each committee and listen to what work they do for you, and maybe it'll inspire you to also want to volunteer to be on the committees. We need your help. We're always looking for good committee members. Now I'm going to turn it over. It would be Deborah Sheffield, but Pat Elam's taking her place.
Hi again. Y'all are going to get to see me a couple times today. I am right now speaking on behalf of Deborah, who, assuming everything is going well, is probably drinking a nice glass of wine in France right now. I'm guessing she probably successfully timed this meeting or this trip on purpose, but who can blame her? So Deborah asked me to share, first of all, that it's truly her pleasure to serve as chair of the Activities Committee. The mission of the Activities Committee is to recommend events and programs, both on and off campus, that enrich our community life. We also review past events, look at participation, enjoyment, and resident feedback. And your feedback is absolutely essential to that process. Suggestions can always be shared on Cubigo on the Suggestions Cube. Go figure. Our committee includes 12 residents who generously give of their time and ideas to keep our community active and engaged. They are Bill Bolger, Ed Pritchett, Daryl Lane, Jenny Wong, Kathy Olson, Tavra Cordet, Judy Howes, Shelley McGarry, Judy Quayle, Rick Larkin, Greg Picula, and Steve Valines. Their dedication helps bring many of the activities we enjoy to life. If you see any of these committee members around campus, please feel free to share your thoughts. We welcome hearing what activities you enjoy, which ones might need a little tweaking, and especially any new ideas you may have. We are also very fortunate to have the guidance and support of our staff liaison, Candace, our resident services coordinator. Candace works closely with the committee to turn ideas into real events for all of us to enjoy. Candace's team of Gail, Brittany, and Doug do amazing things for us behind the scenes. They coordinate the schedules, arrange transportation, reserve rooms, book entertainers, purchase theater and concert tickets. Truly a tremendous amount of work that happens long before we ever show up to enjoy the event. And just as important, I want to thank the many residents who volunteer their time to lead activities with fellow residents. Without your willingness to share your talents and interests, we would not have the wide variety of activities that fill our weekly calendar. If you are volunteering, whether on campus or out in the community, please remember to record your hours. You can do this on Cubigo on the Activities Cube or in the volunteer notebook you'll find at the resident services desk. At the back of the notebook, you'll also find many suggestions for volunteer opportunities. If you discover a new place where our residents can serve, please let me know and we'll be happy to add that to the list as well. I'm delighted to report that during the first 2 months alone of 2026, resident participation in activities totaled nearly 8,000 sign-ins. That's pretty impressive, and it says a lot about the energy of this community. Clearly, we are not sitting around waiting for boredom to find us. Now, let me highlight quickly a few upcoming events. March 19th, karaoke in the lounge at 4:30. Now, I'm not sure whether this will reveal hidden musical talent or simply a lot of courage, but it should be entertaining either way. On April 9th, we're having a pickleball clinic for both beginners and experienced players. April 10th and 17th is the Masters Putting Tournament. You'll hear more about that later. Our volunteer fair will be on April 21st, where you can learn about opportunities to serve both on and off campus. April 24th will be our special ice cream social. I know that's a popular one. And also that day, we're having a pickleball tournament. Our studio instructors are planning a display of their work, and you'll soon see details about an upcoming resident art exhibit in the Village Weekly. The woodshop has completed its very first class, where residents created beautiful charcuterie boards. Several participants completed the training with the express purpose of preparing for our next project, which is making snowmen next month. You may remember that picture of those adorable snowmen that Deborah showed last year in her December report. The snowmen will be sold to raise funds to help provide food for children in need at Orange City Elementary School. And later this fall, we will once again support the school's food drive, and more details to follow. Finally, Deborah asked that we close with a sincere thank you to all of you for participating in the activities and keeping this community lively, welcoming, and connected. Please keep those ideas and suggestions coming. And now, it's my pleasure to introduce Gary Kohler, Chair of the Communications Committee.
Good afternoon. I'd like give a short recap of what we've been doing this last quarter. Start with Village Life. Louise Kakamis is head of that subcommittee. The winter issue was released and the spring issue is well on the way to production. It is expected in early April. One thing that they're asking is that, well, let me back up a little bit. In the olden days with the old Porto, at the time we came into John Knox, we were asked to write our own bios. And those were put on the Porto. When the old Porto died, that practice went away. But that makes it harder for Village Life to get those bios. So we'd like to go back to writing your own bios, and the Porto Committee people would be glad to show you how to put it on Cubico. The Village Weekly, Mary Beth Harvey. Standard work includes preparing the weekly, Candace does that, reviewing it for errors, printing, collating, preparing for delivery, and delivering the final document with inserts. There are preliminary talks on producing a Village Monthly that would give a good overview for the month, plus include most of the typical non-changing events. Also, in this general category is the Village Alert line, also with Mary Beth. For every announcement, a script is developed. I'm thinking Shannon does most of this. A script is developed and approved, then recorded and checked for accuracy and clarity, emailed to all and delivered by phone to all those still opted in to receive them. This period, we've had a lot of Val messages due to the paving project, Centrix issues, Holly Branch Gate issues, ad valorem notifications, apartment renovations, landscaping projects, and the freezing weather, which we got another dose of. Village Friends, Pat Jacquin. They introduced, as we all know, the new residents. And one of the things they gave to new residents was a phone number magnet for containing all the important numbers to have handy, so put it on your refrigerator. In addition, they thought having a John Knox Village in a nutshell document. So this would help people learn all those simple things that we learn eventually, like how do you park, where are you allowed to park, and what, all the various little things that are useful to know. So that John Knox in a nutshell document has been developed, approved by the resident council, and will be on Cubigo. They'll also be, of course, handed out to new residents. Library Committee with Cheryl Schmucker. As Mike said, there's extensive library activity and volunteer hours reported. The library collection has over 4,000 books, including audiobooks, romance books, mystery fiction, resident authored and Western fiction books, and many more. In February alone, there were 236 checkouts, 21 new books were brought in, and 34 were removed. The removed books, by the way, are put on a cart, and anybody who wants them could take them, including employees. The Library Committee also decided on newspaper subscription policy, and they would be limiting that to newspaper subscriptions to local newspapers and non-politically aligned ones. The Channel Lineup Committee under Carol Hartman is in charge of preparing a survey so residents can decide which TV channels to remove and add. So they're going through and figuring out what are things that people mostly want, and then there's some of the fringe items that we could probably replace. The Porto Cubico Committee, Pat Elam wears a second hat in addition to her vice president role. The Porto Committee continues adding new residents to Cubico. They also come up with a lot of suggestions so that Shannon could work with the Cubico development people and get changes to Cubico that improve it. And there's been a lot of improvements over the period since it's been introduced. In addition, Shannon's been offering these, a fourth Cubico College session planned for March 19th, and that'll cover transportation and wellness cubes. Photography under Bob Dunham. Bob's been out of commission for about 2 months, but he's coming back, and he was able to get another foundation gift for more photo contests, so more details are forthcoming. Debbie Artler on social media. I think we're still under a planning phase, so we'll get back on all that. And finally, what the committee does every month is we take all the comments and suggestions that come in for the communication committee and other suggestions and comments that go to other committees that are relevant for the communication committee, and we discuss them and see if there's some issue that has to be resolved. For example, the prayer list used to have the hospitalization list, and so we found out that if you take a list of all the people, residents in the hospital, and publish it broadly, it's a HIPAA violation, we believe. So we had to work out what to do about that. And so we're still working on that. It takes consent, and that's how do you get it. Okay, so that's it. I just want to also, I've mentioned Shannon a few times. She's our liaison, and keeps us all on track with a lot of the various things we're doing. At this point, I'd like to introduce Gary Boyer, also known as Gary the engineer. There are a lot of Garys on this committee, so we have to distinguish them somehow. He's in charge of the employee appreciation. Gary?
Thank you, Gary. When Marie and I moved to John Knox in July of '24, and I first heard about this committee, I thought, gee, this is really a great idea. I mean, what could be better than collecting money from the residents that's been given freely and then passing it out to our employees at the end of the year as a way of saying thank you very much for all the hard work that you do for us all year. So I joined the committee in 2025 and served under Joe Rudolph with the rest of the committee, and now I get to chair the committee this year. I'm very happy to say that all of our committee members elected to stay on board for another year, and we even picked up an additional member, Donna Rieger, who was on the committee previously, and she's a real fountain of knowledge when it comes to what we have to do to make these events happen that we sponsor every year. So welcome back, Donna. It's nice to have you back on board. Our other members include Joe and Susie Rudolph, Gilbert Hollyfield, Bob Wetton, Murray Boyers, Steve Stevenson, and Gene Marks. This year, Steve and Bob visit each of our 4 collection boxes every week or two, and then deposit any contributions into our account at the Main Street Bank. Our staff liaisons are Elvira Wolford and Shannon Finley, and they're both a huge help to the committee, and I want to say thank you to both of you. The committee's goal for this year is $500,000, which sounds like a lot of money, but we actually beat this last year and collected $576,000 under Joe's leadership. So thanks for raising the bar, Joe. We really have our work cut out for us this year. Our account balance as of March 6th was $26,911. So you can see we still have a long way to go, and we really need your contributions. Each year, the committee sponsors a Masters putting tournament, pitting dozens of our residents against each other to determine our champion. Then our champion for the residents gets to play against the John Knox management to determine who has the bragging rights for the whole year. Last year, our champion, who by the way beat Joe Traynor to claim the bragging rights, is our very own Pat Elam. Let's give it up for Pat. All right, so this year, the preliminary tournament will be held on Friday, April 10th at 9 a.m. on the putting green, and then the finals and exhibition match will be the following Friday on April 17th at 9 a.m. The committee also sponsors a cornhole tournament in the fall. The preliminary will be held on October 16th, that's a Friday morning at 9 a.m. at the Bistro. And the finals and exhibition will start at 9 a.m. on October 23rd, the following Friday. Excuse me. The tournaments are a lot of fun and help the committee promote the goals, which is making our collection goal. And by the way, the putting tournament just went live on Cubigo this week, so sign up for putting or sign up to help us keep score if you'd rather do that, or just come out and attend the event. They're really a lot of fun. Mark your calendars. November 15th, which is a Sunday, is the last day to contribute for this year's campaign. Then Tuesday, November 24th, will be our Employee Appreciation Day, where a selection of our residents get to hand out the checks to the employees and tell them personally thank you for the work that you do for us all year long. And please remember that most of us never get to see more than half of the John Knox residents. These are the employees that work at Majestic Oaks, Oakview Suites Assisted Living, the laundries and the kitchens, Primary Memory Care, our new facility, who I think Joe might be renaming here this week. And nobody really wants to go there for an extended stay unless we have to. But it's really nice to know that these facilities and the people that staff them are right here where we are if we need them. Thank you very much. That's all I have unless there's any questions. Our next speaker is John Bondur, Chairman of the Facilities Committee.
I'm going to have to play with this microphone to get it up. I'm taller than the average bear, and my name is Bondur. It's one of the few things you have that's got value, and that's your name. Any rate, St. Patty's Day it is today. In my family, it was a big day. My maternal grandparents were Irish, and they were rather remarkable people. And on a day like this, I can always remember my grandmother, Kate O'Brien was her name. She always had a quick wit and always had something to say. So it's St. Patrick's Day. So she would say, wear a bit of the green, folks, so the folks know that you're one of the grand ones. So with her face in my memory, I just want to say a couple of things. Erin go bra, and sure and bigora. So Kate's smiling at me now. So anyway, the Facilities Committee. We're a group of 5, and in the last year plus, we've been working together and have formed a rather incredible bond and ease of working together. And it's we meet in a workshop basis almost every week because there's a fair number of things that we like to dig into. And we have found that getting together and talking is the best way to really kind of dig into what we want to try and find out about and carry messages forward where it's appropriate. Importantly, the strength of what we've been able to do is because we've been able to build a very strong, positive working relationship with our 2 key staff members. And that's Mark Otto, who's the Vice President for Facility Operations, and Stan DaCosta, who's Vice President for Campus Services. You can see on the screen up above, my colleagues are Doug Anderson, my wife Kathy, Jim Goldschneider, and Dick Belot. And again, the 5 of us, we work very easily together. We continually evaluate what we're doing and why we're doing it, and to try to determine is what the efforts that we put into it, is it worthwhile? We think it is. This is our community, And those of us who live here relish the living relationships that we have throughout the community, and the facilities that we have, and the incredible staff that support all the things that go on. At the same time, there's lots of opportunities to get better at what we do, and that will ever be the thing that everybody needs to be focusing on. But as we've looked back over the last year or so, there's been some rather enormous things that have been impacted that fall within our sphere of influence, if you want to call it that. Not the least of which was Hurricane Milton. Remember that? It dealt a significant blow to our community. And the good news is, with a lot of effort, we're almost back to 100% normal. Still some tweaking that's got to be done, but thanks to the remarkable efforts of Mark Otto, Stan, but of course all the maintenance people and the resources that we drew upon, things got fixed in relatively short order. Obviously, some things take longer than others, and if you start to dig into it, the demolition work of the buildings that were impacted by the storm, that's still a project to be completed, but it will get done. The biggest stumbling block, if you want to call it a stumbling block that we've got right now, is getting the approval from all the regulatory agencies and getting the permits. But all the people that need to be identified to do the work are ready. We just need to get the blessing from the powers that be. I know Gatehouse 2, for months and months and months, always generated a lot of laughter. When is it going to get finished? Well, it's done. The good news is it turned out to be a pretty good project with the product that we ended up with. There are still some tweaking that needs to take place, and that will get done. In particular, some parking issues as it regards the sports facilities. That's one key area that's got to be fixed. And Mark Otto, and we're working together with him, trying to scheme to come up with what are the most viable solutions. We're in the midst of a massive repaving project right now, and I'm getting a signal from the boss back to that time is wasting. But anyway, I think that the road paving process, demolition of the surfaces, what have you, I think has gone on extraordinarily well. The decision to hire the people that were hired to do the work, I think, was extraordinarily good, and witness that they're being able to they're getting things done on time and skillfully, and so we should be complete with it, presuming no more rain, relatively shortly. But I think this has been a job well done. I hope all of you agree. Some other things that we've been working on, and some of them are still pending resolution. The noise issue in JJ's in the dining room. I've heard, I can't tell you how many times, people complaining, I can't hear. And that's true. The noise mitigation in this facility is not the best in the world. The solutions are not all that easy to identify. And I won't get into all the mechanics of it, but we've had some expert input, and it really involves the transferal of sound going this way. Not this way, not against the walls, not against the windows, but just merely going back and forth. Still got to figure out what's the best way to solve it, but we're going to get it done. Listening to a lot of people, trash and recycling is a major issue in people's minds, and rightfully so. We need to recycle, we need to get rid of trash appropriately, and we've determined that probably more than anything else, there's a lack of information on what we, residents, what are our responsibilities? When do you get it out? What can go where? So we're going to try and get a much more definitive outline for everybody so that they know exactly what's going on. Importantly in that process, we've got to learn, what does that mean? I'm done? Okay. She's signaling me, and we got to get the signals straightened out. But anyway, we want to make sure everybody knows what they need to do. Another thing that's a work in process, it's the toilet areas in the public areas. The guardrails, handrails, whatever you want to call them on either side, we need to get those better installed with the right kind of equipment angled in such a way, so that's going on. The bistro patio table process, those are going to get taken care of. Major project is getting close to total completion, is all the painting and the carpet replacements and what have you in the apartments and in Majestic Oaks. And then, of course, was the big move of the administrative function going to the Oak Park Senior Center. I was going to talk more about our, let's call it our resident responsibilities, but we're going to get that out because we need to, as residents, focus on what we can do to continue to make this a better place. Little things like don't speed, don't run the stop signs. And I could go on with a long list. We've got a list of 20-some odd items, and we'll try and get that communicated. But let's all of us think that this is our community, and let's take care of it. Thank you. And next up is my friend, and he has the Finance Committee responsibilities, Dick Jacquin.
Good afternoon. Well, it's usually the first quarter is pretty quiet for the Finance Committee, mainly because our accounting group is going through the annual audit, the year-end report to the Office of Insurance Regulation, and also they've been undergoing a 3-year examination from the state on from the OIR. So they're pretty busy over there, and we'll be catching up on those reports in both April and May. Cynthia Pohl, who is our CFO, and Nicole Schmitter, who's our controller, are very, very helpful to us and bring us the information each month, and we look forward to catching up with them. If you're new here, you need to know that the reports, the OIR report, the 990 report, our annual audit and such are in the library. So if it's right in front of, bookcase right in front of the checkout desk, you can take a look in those and for your reading pleasure. We had a tour of our new memory facility, the Premier Memory Care Facility. And if you haven't been over there and they open it up for tours again, take advantage of that. It is a really beautiful, beautiful place. What is really nice, it was purchased through our reserves. There was no debt involved, and we remain debt-free, which is wonderful. So take a tour with that. Thank you for your participation and your attention, and certainly thank you to my team who work with me on the Finance Committee. And now, Linda Kehoe for food.
The Food Committee's purpose is simple.
Hang on for a second.
Oh, thank you. The Food Committee's purpose is simple: to continually improve your dining experience by serving as your direct voice to Culinary Services Administration. Each member represents one of our dining venues and brings your concerns, compliments, and suggestions to management. The Food Committee members and their venues are Mickey Antelek, The Bay; Jerry Hazley, Cranes; Satar Sheth, JJ's; Ralph Stoll, The Grill; Joan Cornett, The Bistro; Nancy Lasagna, Treetop Lounge, Scoop, and Special Events. A heartfelt thank you to the committee for your dedication to improving JKV dining experience. We work closely with Culinary Services Administration, and the representatives are Anthony Thorpe, Vice President of Culinary Services; Raven, Executive Chef; Dem, General Manager of Dining Rooms. I would like to mention some of the 2026 first quarter dining highlights. The Bay has been refreshed with new carpeting, and the back room has been repainted. The Bay welcomes a more casual dress code, including jeans and shorts, and displays resident artwork, making it an inviting and relaxed dining option. The new brunch menu has been enthusiastically received. An average of 85 residents enjoy brunch each Sunday from 10:30 to 1:30. Reservations are encouraged but are not required for this popular weekend tradition. JJ serves about 80 dinners each evening and rotates its menu on a 6-week cycle for fresh variety. 2 weeks of upcoming menus are posted on Cubigo for easy planning. A recent upgrade includes new window shades to reduce the glare from the sunlight. Look for updates to the rotating menus with some new selections in late spring. The grill remains a reliable staple, preparing and serving an average of 250 meals each day. The menu features classic, well-loved options, and residents' strong favorites make it challenging to change. The bistro menu, introduced in February, has quickly become a resident favorite. While pizza remains the top-selling item, it is closely followed by the patty melt and the fish sandwich. The new menu offers variety, and with the nice weather, a fun, casual place to dine outdoors. Residents have especially enjoyed the monthly Chef's Table events, which highlight our talented chefs' creativity. Do you have a dietary restriction or preference? If so, please attend the Coffee with Sheila Joseph, JKV Clinical Dietitian, Wednesday, March 25th at 9:30 in the auditorium for information about meeting your dietary needs. While dining, let your server know your restrictions and ask for items which will enhance your meal, such as gluten-friendly pasta, bread and pancakes, vegan sausage, and sugar-free desserts. Some options not listed on the menus are available. Just ask. Also, the culinary team will modify dishes whenever possible to accommodate your needs. Sauces can always be served on the side. If you plan to attend a special event, submit a request in advance to culinary management for an alternate meal. About our culinary services. Each month, the teams prepare and serve approximately 19,000 meals, including about 3,500 for Oakview Suites. Many meals are ordered during busy peak periods, lunch and dinner, which can occasionally lead to issues due to high volume in short time frames. Culinary Services is fully committed to addressing any concerns quickly and effectively. If something isn't quite right, kindly ask to speak with the manager on duty. The manager can resolve your issue much more efficiently. Share positive feedback, constructive suggestions, compliments about our culinary staff, or any issues via the Suggestions Cube on Cubigo. About 62% of the comments include compliments about service or food. These compliments are shared with the culinary staff. In closing, our committee values your input and listens carefully to your feedback so we can address the challenges and turn your practical ideas into reality. Your feedback shapes the future of dining at John Knox Village. And now I'm pleased to introduce Joe Elam, Chair of the Healthcare Committee.
Got it. Now for the best committee out of the entire program here. What is fun about Healthcare Committee is that we cross over with so many of the other committees. That we have, as Linda said, food is part of healthcare because you're diabetic, you're gluten intolerant, you have issues. Well, that's healthcare issues. Another thing that we're doing more of this year, which is our focus, is more education on these things. Educate you better on diabetes prevention, resolving type 2 diabetes, and to live a little bit better, stronger life by just understanding what it is. So we're the educational side. As John mentioned, from the facility side, you know, we have to look at the ADA, American Disabilities Act, for some of the restrooms. They don't have the proper hand bars, or they're too narrow, or they're too wide. So ours crosses over to a lot of committees. And of course, communications is always in there because everything has to be communicated and get out there in time. So When I took over the committee this year, I took over from Gary Barron, and we haven't seen him since then. I don't know where the guy is, but he's somewhere. Maybe Pat will find out where this guy is. So I took over, and it was a very strong committee at that time. So I take over, and everyone but 2 people left. I was like, well, this isn't good. Like, what am I going to do? Well, I'll show you. I went out and recruited the best people possible. So I brought in 2 new ones, Joy Brenner. I think Joy's around. She's right back there wearing green, but so is everybody but me. And Jackie Donnelly, who came on. Both have strong medical backgrounds, nursing backgrounds, and have added a tremendous amount of expertise and knowledge to our committee. And we also have a new wellness liaison, Sarah Tracy. So she has ramped up her knowledge, taken over for Amanda Logan, who took Amanda Delgado's place. Too many Amandas and Garys, and there's too many of that around here. Not enough Joes, though. Right, Rudolph? Yeah. Well, I started it when I was nervous coming up here, so I asked Rudolph, I said, give me some advice. And he said, always start out with a good joke. And I saw what it did to him, and I said, there's no way I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to end the presentation. Of course, we still have Nicole Vega, who's the Vice President of Clinical Services, with us also. That is, keeps us up to date on MO, OVS, and now PMC, which we hopefully find out what PMC is going to be named here pretty soon. We do a lot of the programs, or we have ideas for the programs that sometimes get put together with Lily. This past, I guess, some in January and February, we had Advent Health presentation from Cardiology Services. A physician came in and talked about aortic valve replacement. He also opened it up and talked about a lot of cardiac issues that we have. And he was very open and easy to understand, and it was a very educational presentation that he gave us. We had the Orange City Fire Department come in and do a CPR demonstration. Now, it wasn't for a certification, but they came in and they had the CPR dummies there. And so they gave a very nice presentation on why CPR is important. How does CPR work? Why is it so effective? Why does it save so many lives when it's done? And why everyone should be knowledgeable of it. It is not that you have to practice it continuously, but have the knowledge and be able to perform it if needed. They also talked about the Heimlich maneuver, which, because we all eat in big dining areas, there could be a choking issue there. How does this work? How does grabbing someone from behind and pulling pop out the food? So they talked about the mechanics of all of this stuff. They did bring up the AEDs and how simple they can be. And although we don't have them on the main campus, it is something that if you're in Publix, you can get one if somebody goes down. And it's something, because it's so simple, it talks you through it, you can't make a mistake. Another presentation we did with Lily was on brain health, and a big part of that, along with some information that we put out in the weekly, was mild cognitive impairment or dysfunction. I think I have it. Then we also had, back in January, we had Talina come in and talk about all the services and classes and education that she does in the both fitness centers. And then we had coffee with Martha. I don't know that Martha and Talina have last names. They're just called Martha and Talina. We've put together a donation box for eyeglasses, old eyeglasses. We can drop them in there. So far, and we've only done it about 6 weeks, we've dropped over 150 pair of glasses in there, and we're going to be able to accept hearing aids and be able to recycle those. We have several things coming up. April is National Parkinson's Month, and there's activities at the gym. There's a New Step Challenge that Talina will lead. We record your miles or steps or time. And then May 8th is the second annual JKV annual triathlon. And you can contact Talina to get specifics on that. We'd like to have as many people as possible in there. Our goal always, in closing, Patty, our goal as always is trying to improve your access to healthcare information and education, supporting wellness, prevention, reducing risk of injury. Falling is the big one that we have. It's everywhere, not just here. And helping residents understand the use and availability of resources, and to continue monitoring the assisted living and PMC. Thanks for listening. That's mine. I'm going to introduce Pat is going to take over. You're probably tired of hearing from an Elam right now, but you got one more time.
This is the last time you have to listen to me, and I now am representing the Nominations Committee Chair, Gary Barron, who is more than likely sharing a glass of wine with Deborah Sheffield in France. So, anyway, on behalf of Gary and the full Nominations Committee, I'd like to start with a sincere thank you for all the residents who stepped forward to volunteer for our 2027 Residents Council. The response was truly encouraging and tells us something very important. Our residents care deeply about this community and want to have a voice in shaping its future. That level of engagement is one of the things that makes our village such a special place to live. Now, if we had our way, we would probably appoint everybody who volunteered. But unfortunately, the bylaws and probably common sense won't allow that. So, since we only have 6 positions open, we created 2 groups of people with our volunteers to keep the process fair and organized. One group for residents that are interested in serving as committee members, and another group for residents interested in serving as committee chairs. Now, while we do have more candidates than open positions, I want to make sure that we haven't missed anyone out there who still has the desire to serve. So please, speak now by contacting any member of the Nominations Committee, or forever hold your peace, or at least until next year when we come looking for 2028 Resident Council volunteers. For those who express an interest in chairing a committee, we will be hosting a meeting on April 8th, at which time we will review the responsibilities, answer questions, and give people an opportunity to share things about themselves. Kind of think of it as a friendly introduction, not a job interview, and certainly nothing like running for political office. No campaign ads or attack commercials required. At that meeting, or after that meeting, the Nominations Committee will select a recommended slate of candidates, which will be then presented to the current Resident Council and then shared with all of you in our June 2026 quarterly update. We also hope to publish the candidates' biographies in the Village Weekly and possibly on Cubigo, so residents can get to know the individuals who are stepping forward to lead. Meanwhile, the names of the residents who volunteered to serve on committees will be shared with the appropriate committee chairs, and which helps to ensure that every committee has a strong group of residents willing to contribute their time, ideas, and experience. Our committee will continue to work diligently in the months ahead to ensure a smooth transition to the 2027 team. Now, before I close, I want to again thank everyone who volunteered. Committees thrive when people step forward, share their perspectives, and help make things better for everyone. Your willingness to do that speaks volumes about the spirit of John Knox Village. Thank you for your time, your attention, and for helping keep our community engaged, vibrant, and moving forward. Mike?
Well, I was right about one thing. It's a tremendous group on your resident council. Please clap for them. They deserve it. They gave reports that told me they're doing the work that I expected of them, and I hope you take advantage anytime you see them to thank them for their service. I only had one small improvement, maybe, when Joe was talking about the CPR dummy. He looked over at me, and I just wish he hadn't have done that. Thank you for coming.